The following is a Kingfisher Media production.
How much do we really know about strangers? Is it fair to assume that they're different from us, or should we be searching for things that we can relate to? We shouldn't look so hard at the things we don't understand or agree with. We should look at the things that make us think, this is what I like about you. With me today is Alexis Erlin, my co-host, and our guest is Yelena K, and I, as always, am AC Fisher. Yelena, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I am very excited to see what I like about you and to be a guest.
So Yelena, I looked up at our calendar link. We put out an ad asking to see if anyone was interested in coming on the show. And usually we know a little bit about people, but this time we really had no idea. And so I wanted to ask you first, who is Yelena?
Well, really, I wear lots of hats. Well, let's start with a professional definition, I guess. I am a licensed mental health therapist in Florida and a self-development coach. That's what I do. I'm also mom, a female, a business entrepreneur, a fun person to talk to. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, that is a lot of things.
So I guess we got like the brief professional biography, the brief personal biography. I want to jump straight into something substantial. What are you passionate about, Yelena?
Wow, that is really substantial. I'm passionate about, I want to make a difference in person's life, let's say. Let's have with one person, as many people as I can. But I want to make a difference in your life if you're ready to make a difference for yourself.
So what I'm hearing underneath that desire is, I think, a little clue about your personal philosophies, maybe, that you don't want to do things for people. You want to walk beside them along the journey.
Oh, I cannot go to the gym with you and do a push-up and you are going to be the one in shape. That's not going to work. I will be there on your journey and serving you to the best abilities that I have so you can get in shape. And I will be rewarded with your success.
Okay, so I'm not asking for free therapy here. I am a person, I've got a lot of mental health challenges. I've got trauma in my past. These things affect me very much in the day-to-day. Mm-hmm. Now, I think I do a reasonably good job at managing myself. So in broad terms, if I were to come to you and say, look, Yelena, I'm hurting. I think I'm reasonably successful, but I still feel like I need help. Mm-hmm. Where would you start as far as trying to figure out a plan to help me do those push-ups that you were talking about?
Yeah, first of all, we got to start with the you and me relationship. We have to have a relationship that you are comfortable to let me in so I can help you. For me, that's where I'm going to start with any person. And if we connect in a level that we aligned with the, like energy and that you can hear me and understand me and follow me and ready to be uncomfortable. I love making people uncomfortable. So much fun. Then there's no cookie cutter. Then I'll see what I can do in my ability to serve you as my client.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that already. I like that you like making people feel uncomfortable. I think I understand what you're talking about. I think you enjoy motivating people and encouraging people and pushing them just a little bit. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, and like an analogy with the gym, right? Like if you guys go to the gym and you do one push-up and it's like getting uncomfortable, you're like, yay, I'm gonna be in shape. No, you won't.
No. Yeah, you have to do more. You have to do it until it hurts almost,
Bingo.
Yeah. And then it's heal and then you grow, right?
Yeah, without challenge, the grow is really not it's a very minimum, or it's not even gonna go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm saying I like to make people uncomfortable is then if I am, then I'm doing my job. If you are getting challenged, if you are getting pushed, if you are in a way upset at me, great. We got in somewhere that you haven't.
You're hitting some kind of nerve, right?
Then let's talk about why you're upset at me.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I love everything about this approach so far, even in its most basic form. It's actually interesting that you say all of these things because just an hour ago, Alexis and I were talking on the phone about our frustration with getting help with our mental health things, how too often the therapist or the counselor has already decided what our problems are and does want to take a very cookie cutter approach. And we end up feeling like we're getting bullied into a diagnosis that doesn't fit rather than getting supported. And I think also my experience, at least, has been that the help that I go and look for, it's so impersonal. I love the fact that you come in and it's a case of, okay, we're going to build a relationship at some point on some level. I could see something like that working for me because if I like you, I'm going to feel naturally inclined to share my secrets and my pain. It's so good. I love. There's obviously a lot of your personality coming into your professionalism, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's mental health. It's serious, but I can be fun at the same time. In a way that I can make a joke that will challenge you in a way that you can discover something that you haven't thought before through the humor, or through make a joke about me the way I talk and I have accent. That's fine with me,
Right.
But then wait, I'm gonna get you back in a way that I'm gonna tell something, but it's because I am comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I am comfortable in the relationship that I can say something and you're not gonna be offended. If you're offended at something let's discuss that right away. Let me know. Let's address. I don't want any grudges. I don't want any limitation for you because I made you uncomfortable.
Right.
So I am like in my first session, I'm pretty much open in the way, yeah, okay, we're getting to know each other. For me, that's the most important part right now. So we're building, this is a relationship.
Right.
And in a relationship, being able to connect, trust, be safe, that's half of the success, just from a get-go. Without me being a professional, you can relate to somebody who make you feel safe, who can listen. That's already something that you're getting.
Right. Sometimes with some people, you don't even have those basic things. And, you keep trying to go after them and stuff like that. That was something we kind of talked about too. When you feel like you take extra responsibility in the relationship and you try to inspire something in the other person or motivate them somehow to make a connection because there really isn't one there. We're just talking about that. I find that very interesting that your relationship is what the foundation is for healing and assistance with your clients moving forward.
And look, I'm a human too. I have my imperfections. And if we don't relate, which happens, it's okay. Then we will notice that, right? There will be not as like maybe deep of a conversation. And then that's fine as well. That is something that we actually recognize as responsible human beings and learn from it. And I will be happy to connect you with somebody who you connect with, because it's all about you. You are the one who is result. It's not about me. Okay, I'm not getting you results, but I'm just sticking with you for whatever gains that I have. That it's not going to be beneficial for me. I'm not going to feel bad. I'm going to feel bad about it.
Thank you for listening to What I Like About You. Please remember to like, follow, and share.
You've got a sense of adventure, don't you?
Oh, I love that.
You mentioned your accent a little bit earlier, and I'm sure most of the listeners by now have detected it. You're obviously not living in your country of birth.
Obviously.
I'm not going to bore you with the "where are you from" question. I'm just curious, coming from a different place, mm-hmm. and setting up a new life for what is for you a foreign country. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that experience has equipped you to help other people to adapt to new and overwhelming experiences?
That is the most hard experience that I had. I was in my early 20s and I flew halfway, down the world, and kind of started a life in a totally different place. And even though I was speaking English pretty well compared to maybe others, but the qualities that you have to learn, the challenges that you have to go through is a hard experience, but at the same time, it builds resilience. It makes you a person who's like, okay, I made it,
Yeah,
I made it in my early 20s, and, with just me figuring things out in another country. I mean, then I don't have anything that I can't do.
I like that.
So that's why I like my clients to be challenged, because if I will be the person that you can survive, then then next, then you will be living life that you will be enjoying, because you will become more resilient after working with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like some people, when I think I take it the wrong way sometimes. I like it how you put that. Some people say, "Oh, you're so resilient." I was like it's not like it's natural or something like that. I'm like, I'm a survivor. I don't feel like I really did too much. I feel like I barely escaped, but then the next time something happens, it doesn't seem to affect me as deeply as it had before, because I feel like I've already taken the steps to kind of get past a lot of those hurts a lot quicker now. And so I guess I'm starting to understand my own resilience better, if that makes sense.
Of course. I'm glad that you're discovering that for yourself. That's huge.
It is huge. I have more self-respect of the things I've learned, things I have survived. And that's something when I know that I don't have so much anxiety about, oh gosh, what's going to happen next? Now it's just like, okay, what's going to happen next? It's just a little bit of a, attitude change, I think.
Oh yeah. Perspective is everything, because you changed your perspective from like, I don't know what the future is going to be. I don't know what I'm going to do. You're like, the future is going to happen anyway. So I'm going to stop worrying about what's going to happen. And when it happens, I'm going to deal with it.
Yeah. Right.
And once that kind of like nothing changed, it's just your perception, the meaning you give to the future.
Mm-hmm.
It works for your mental health, because you have reduced anxiety, right? You have a better ability to cope with things, because then you believe in yourself.
Yeah, that is something that has definitely changed.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Thank you for that. That is so helpful.
Yeah.
I like your insight. It tells me that you appreciate qualities about other people that I think a lot of us typically miss in the day to day. I don't know if I'm wrong, but I'm starting to see a sense that you have a genuine love of people. It kind of makes me curious. Is there a certain type of person that you just don't like?
Okay. Good question. I mean, I usually get along with everybody or find a way. And it's in a pretty recent, maybe a couple of years, I learned how to not to be offended in such a deeper way. And I don't take things personally. It's not about me. It's about other person's way to look at things. And I'm not going to go down on your level of misery and entertain that unhealthy point of view or unhealthy comments, So I can make a decision to set boundaries with you and distance this person. And, obviously, I can get to the point that I feel a little down about some comments or a little concerned. But then I learn how to connect with people who support me, who level me up, who are able to just support me in a way that's in a healthy way. So those little difficulties with communication or other unhealthy people's perception or behaviors, that's their flaws.
Right.
And if they would tell this to me, then probably I'm not the first one and the last one.
There's a saying in Buddhism that my enemy is my greatest teacher. And so I should love and respect and appreciate him for that. I feel like I'm hearing elements of that in what you're saying. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yeah, in a way that I will recognize if it's your purpose pretty much in life to just put me down all the way, I will do my best to have some type of, or attempt to have type of relationship. But if it's to the point that's abusive or, it gets to the point that it's very unhealthy, then I'm not going to entertain that.
Right.
I can be fun, but I can be really direct.
I like how you put that.
Yeah.
That you're not going to entertain that. I don't know what else to say about that. I like the way you put that.
I like the whole topic, actually. It's one of those things that Alexis and I have been bumping up against in online conversations fairly frequently lately, is trying to challenge people that want to demonize others who are suffering with mental health issues, saying that you can't treat these people as though they are intentionally abusive or intentionally aggressive, that they are victims in the situation along with us. But that I think a lot of people hear us say that and think, no, you're just making excuses for their behavior. You're saying that you have to tolerate this, but that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is we need to understand where it's coming from, even if we're understanding when it's time for us to take some distance for self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
With the type of work that you do you end up ever having conversations that are difficult where you're trying to explain to people how much understanding is appropriate when dealing with somebody who is struggling?
You are listening to What I Like About You. Please remember to like, follow, and share.
Usually I connect with most of my clients. I had maybe a couple of that they're not functioning in a level of the mental capacity at this time because they're like really heavy diagnosis or they are experiencing hallucination, like they're being so on that level, there's that much I can do because that they're not capable of receiving. They're not capable of hearing me
You're not able to make that connection with them.
Right. In a way that at some point, like mental, like conversation can go as far. Sometimes psychiatric help has to happen. And then when the person is functioning on the level when they're ready to listen and ready to comprehend information, then we can make a progress.
Yeah.
So that gets a little bit of complicated because it becomes really like, well, those heavy diagnosed with the schizophrenia and bipolar can be very difficult to make a significant progress because the person is not capable at this point. They need the chemical stabilization in their brain with their chemical balance more so they can actually be themselves, because the mental illness is preventing them. And they cannot hear me. They cannot comprehend. They're just not ready. So that, like, this is once recently I ran into this, but usually, it's not an issue.
It seems to be a trend lately online where narcissists have become an easy target for people that just want to talk mental health when they don't really know what they're talking about. And narcissists seem to have become the demons of 2021 so far. I don't share most of the public opinion of these people. I don't see them as evil or abusive. I see them as challenged. I guess my question for you is it possible to relate in a healthy way with somebody who is a true narcissist?
You mean like a friend, somebody to have a conversation with?
No, I'm not talking in a casual way. Maybe somebody closer, like a parent or a spouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, like you said, a big topic. But I think with the pandemic and people getting to know each other a little bit more closer, you can discover that the person close to you have some narcissistic personality or have some significant traits. But there's a lot of different opinions on that. And for me is you can have a relationship with anyone. It depends on the level of the relationship you want to have.
So this would be, for the sake of argument, if I say, okay, I'm married to somebody who is exhibiting some strong narcissistic tendencies.
Yeah.
It is possible, in theory, for me to develop myself to a point where I can relate, even if they're not able to meet me halfway. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
No,
okay.
I don't think you're going to be able to, if you want to be yourself and you want to be a person you are trying to be, or you want to be with a person who have very strong traits of narcissistic personality disorder, then you probably going to hit the wall at some point. So you can have a relationship at certain relationship for sure, but it's not going to be a relationship on your terms.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. No, that actually makes perfect sense. I think that's the best explanation I've heard so far, because most people seem to say, okay, no, it's not possible at all. And there's other people that say, well, yeah, anything's possible. But I think your explanation is very, very, it was brief, but it was detailed enough, saying that you can enjoy things up to a certain point, but you can't expect to have the same sort of normal, healthy, fulfilling relationship that you might otherwise have access to.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much my overview. If we don't want to get into, too much of details, is exactly. Yeah.
But I guess like that whole approach or that whole understanding would probably apply to any number of mental health challenges though, right? Because I know with my ex-wife, she struggled a lot with my anxiety specifically. I mean, I've got much more wrong with me. but the anxiety itself it seemed to be the one thing that really, really triggered her. And it's not that she hated me or didn't love me, but I guess she couldn't be free just to be herself in my presence. And that ultimately caused a rift that couldn't be fixed.
Yeah, exactly. That is about, it takes two to tango, right? So it's your relationship, let's say, because you have one of those things that you haven't perfect, but, anxiety. And if there would be maybe a different person who are able to handle, or it wouldn't bother too much, like, okay, you do that. I already know that. That's not a big deal. Give him 15 minutes. He's going to be okay. Then we're talking about different level of relationship.
Right.
So it's really where you at and what kind of capabilities your partner has to deal with the stuff that you have.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like that, because I think that probably can work in even the most casual relationships, right? And I think that's a lot of what we try to do on this show, where it's like, hey, I don't know if we've got anything in common. I don't even know if we're going to like each other when we get on the show together. We've had one person, at least so far, I just did not like, but I was still able to have a functional and productive conversation with them. And I don't think the listeners ever would have picked up on that.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I think there's something to be learned in every relationship from every person that you meet. I really believe that that's true. If you take the time to listen, and if you take the time to observe where they're coming from, you can find something.
Oh, absolutely. And I believe that we learn about ourselves through relationship with others.
Yes, that's very, very true. It's true, because you think, oh, why did that happen? It's like, oh, it's not just because of them. It's not just because of their reaction. It's like, what was my intention? What was my motivation behind that question? Or did I word that in a way that it would be perceived well? Maybe that's just second guessing myself, but I do learn a lot about myself in how other people respond to me. And I learn just as much about them as well. It teaches me something,
Yeah, exactly. It's about how are you discovering yourself through variety and types of relationship. Even though it's a functional relationship, let's say with a friend, you learn about yourself what's unacceptable for you. That's a game. Or you learn something, okay, like that's as much as I can take from another person. And that's an experience for me that I will know pretty much, that's a discovery for me. That's the side of me I discovered because I had a relationship with this person. I didn't know this side of me. I didn't know that maybe quality or ability that I'm able to develop, right? Or ability to look at things, but other person taught me, maybe not intentionally, but because we had that type of relationship, that type of connection, then that discovered that side of me, if it makes sense.
Something Yelena said stuck out to me. It went something like this. Your present perception is what gives meaning to your future. I believe there's a lot of truth in that. Stay tuned to hear what Yelena has to say about relationships as AC and I share some personal news on what I like about you.
No, that makes perfect sense, because what the picture you're painting is one that seems to be all about looking inwardly. I think there's often in our society, for sure, a temptation, if there's a conflict or misunderstanding, or even if we just sort of grow apart from each other, to look at the other person and take a negative inventory rather than look at the situation and think, what have I learned? And at the same time, framing that in what you appreciate about the other person. You know what? A lot of our listeners know about Alexis and I is that we were romantically involved. Up until a little less than a week ago, we broke up.
Okay.
And it wasn't a happy experience. And we certainly have had some complicated conversations since then.
Right.
But I still very, very much appreciate this woman. And I'm still learning from her. And we obviously still work together. I think I'm hoping anyways that, people can see that there is still like a comfort level there. We don't hate each other.
Yeah.
I wish more people would take the time to look inwardly, because I can be honest and think, okay, these are the things that Alexis said and did that I can't have in my life in a certain capacity. But that doesn't mean that Alexis has to go along with those behaviors, along with that context. It is possible to both redefine the way we relate to each other and also to celebrate what we've enjoyed together, and also celebrate the opportunity to learn from the experience about, like you say, about myself and also about her.
Yeah, because it's a great example, because I believe that relationship involves that they don't stop. Like
Right.
You stop that part of relationship, or you're kind of reinvented, and you still are, because it's pretty fresh. So I'm sure, let's be honest.
Well, it's not been easy. I'm not going to lie.
No, it hasn't.
It's not supposed to be easy. If you are involved emotionally and you invested in each other,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, my investment is not paying off. Crap. That's sad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm joking about serious stuff.
Yeah.
But you understand what I'm coming from with that.
Yes. Oh, for sure. For sure.
You are involving, it's like a smoke coming from a candle. It's going up, but it's not a direct flame or smoke. It involves, it moves, it goes sideways, but it's a progress in the way you're involving. And now you are disconnecting from a romantic side of relationship that you developed and connecting on different levels. And it's challenging because it's new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's challenging because you haven't done before.
Yes.
And then obviously when emotions are involved and feelings are involved, then it's not an easy to adapt to a new relationship. But is it possible? I believe so.
I believe so too.
Well, I mean, I know I've got direct experience with how well it can work out. My first wife and I, when we split up, we hated each other passionately. And, now 19 years later, she is my best friend. I can't imagine life without her. And it's all because, we pushed through the difficult stuff and we got to a place that I think we might have otherwise missed out on. I can't imagine my life without her.
Yeah.
She's, and I'll give her a shout out. Maureen, yeah. I love you. You're wonderful.
Hi, Maureen.
Hi, Maureen.
Love her very, very much. Very much. And see, had they not figured that out, I would have never had a chance to meet her. And she's awesome. She's so cool. She's so fun to be around. And, then it starts to pay off. It starts to pay off those long-term investments that you made years and years ago for some other reason. You start reaping the benefits from that in different ways. And it evolves. Like you said, it changes, it evolves, it grows. And that's something that I always look forward to in relationships that maybe change. I'm not quite so afraid like I used to be. I'm more kind of like excited, like, oh, what's going to happen? How is this going to grow? What are we going to accomplish now? Because we're not in that same, we're not going in that same direction anymore, if that makes sense. But, sorry.
That's okay.
It's been good, I have to say.
Yeah.
It has. We've learned a lot about each other in our time together.
Yeah.
We heard things that no one else could hear. We saw things no one else could see. We understood things no one else could fathom. And those were very positive things.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me know that we can go forward, we can grow, and we can still accomplish the things we wanted to accomplish.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a process. And I just want to say then, don't rush and feel bad because you're emotional. It's natural, You're supposed to, right? You cared about each other.
Yeah, of course.
So that is kind of like, you kind of have to go through stages of grief and process. And, it's okay. It's okay.
Well, Yelena, I've really been enjoying talking to you, but unfortunately, we are coming to the end of our time, at least on this podcast.
Yeah.
Switching gears fairly abruptly. And before I do, Alexis, I do very much appreciate you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you too, AC. It means a lot. Full experience.
Yelena, if somebody wants to find you professionally, if they want to find access to your work, what's the best way for them to go about that?
Yeah, I think the easiest way is just to go on my website, Yelena K Coaching, and just book a call. Like I said, let's connect. Let's build a little bit of a relationship and have a conversation. And, first conversation is free. And there's something else I want to tell you. Okay. Now I see you smile. It's good.
There.
Because you guys are so awesome. And I'm sure you have a great audience who appreciates you. I want to give something special. And you don't know anything about it. We didn't talk about it. So I want to treat your listeners who are loyal to you, and I want to give them complimentary vacation. Who is going to book a call with me and have a conversation? I have certificates that I am privileged to share, and I'm a given person. So I'm going to give people who are booking call with me and just getting in the call, even though they're not going to be my customers, that's fine. But I want to treat them well, and I'm going to give them a complimentary vacation. And I can do that for you guys separately or together.
That's awesome, Yelena. Thank you so much.
Honestly, thank you.
Wow. We're very, very gracious, Yelena. This was very awesome. Guys, listeners, she's really cool. She's really, really fun. I got to tell you, this lady, she's so sweet. And what I like about her is that she has a certain element of sincerity that goes very deep, but not too deep, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
You find the joy in circumstance. You find the value in all things. And that is something I really appreciate about you.
Of course. Thank you for being vulnerable and just sharing and being real.
That's when we grow.
Yelena, what I like about you, I liked you from the moment we connected on Zoom here. I saw your face, and it's not just that you're a beautiful woman, which you are, but there was a softness and a sincerity in your facial expression that allowed me to immediately let my guard down. And I knew that you were a person that I wanted to draw closer to without even knowing anything about you. And I really, really appreciate you making this experience possible.
Well, thank you so much for having me and sharing your, personal stories and, the challenges that you going through together. And I'm honored to be just a part of it.
Well, Yelena K, thank you very, very much for joining us. This has been another wonderful experience of finding out what I like about you.